I would like to invite Mr. Vijay Anand, the Vice President of Naga Limited. Mr. Vijay Anand would be the chair for the next session. I humbly request Mr. Vijay Anand to please come and join us on the stage. To join the panel, I would like to request Mr. Amit Goyal, the Director of Gustora Foods, to please come forward and join us on stage. Mr. Amit Goyal. Dr. Suresh D. Sakhare, Principal Scientist, CSIR, CFTRI. Dr. Suresh D. Welcome on the stage. Mr. Sanjay Singh, MDP Faculty, IIM Kolkata. He is also here with us, and I request Mr. Sanjay Singh, the MDP Faculty, IIM Kolkata, to please come and join us on the stage. And to complete this panel, we would like to invite Ms. Deepthi Thakur, the Senior Manager, Invest India, MOFPI. I request Ms. Deepthi Thakur. We are waiting for one more panelist to join in, and then we are good to start. And the trade opportunities. So all the enthusiasts who are sitting here, who are seeking for knowledge and wisdom, this whole focus would be on the global collaboration, how you can open the doors and windows for the opportunities in the global space. So we would be having this discussion around that, and we would be talking about the trade opportunities aligned in this space. So once again, I welcome you all at the day 2 of WPPS CEO Conclave 2025, WPPS, which stands for Wheat Product Promotion Society. And on this note, I open the session with our chair, Mr. Vijay Anand. Thank you so much, sir.
When I was asked to chair this session on global opportunities and collaborations and trade for Indian wheat and wheat products, it came as quite a bit of a shake-up to me, because we are one happy lot who produce and consume all the wheat in this country. So we are never bothered. There's a war happening in Ukraine. Oh, okay. Is that going to disrupt the food chain in Europe? Oh, I see. So it's all just news for us. It doesn't really shake us. But it's like when we talk about from what we've been hearing from all the speakers yesterday, and it was and also from one of the senior panelists, Mr. Atul Chaturvedi, about is India. I think they just validated the point. Are we going to look at any export opportunities or global collaborations of trade? So that's the kind of view, as a miller who has been in this industry for so many years, that's what comes to my mind. And this, it's like, of course, the facts and data also go along with it. The acreages of wheat has been stuck at about 32 million. And our yields is one of though we are the second largest producer in the country, our yields are one of the, when you look at the top 10, we are we are in the bottom third. So with this, the production numbers are not increasing. Of course, we talk about production as with a given estimate anywhere from 95 million to 122 million also, as it was, it came out in the papers a couple of days back. So, but whatever gets produced gets consumed. So it's a balanced equation when you look at India from a 10 years horizon. So when we talk about why did India import wheat, we say that, oh yes, because why did India export wheat? We had a surplus, and when you ask the people what is the reason, whatever went out of the country had to come in. So that's a simple answer we get. So when you look at it over a horizon, we are sort of a balanced lot. And also, but when it comes to producing, exporting our wheat to global standards, and you talk about the wheat and wheat products, wheat is sort of becoming almost an out of question thing is once in a way. Wheat products, now we have a ban on wheat products, direct derivatives like maida, atta, we have a ban on it. Of course, even for atta, it's only an advance authorization where you import the wheat to export the atta. So that being the case, so the opportunity, I mean, anybody who's trying to develop a structured trade over a long period, we don't have the policy clarity because the priorities of the government is different from what the trade looks at. And also when you look at it from producing a quality product that comes out of a wheat derived product, so you have, I would say, as what Amit Thakkar put, lacks integration. So you have a seed breeder. I had a discussion as I'm one person in this whole supply chain as a miller. So you have the seed breeders developing the varieties of seeds. You have the FCI procuring it. You have the farmers, and then you have the government policy, and then the miller, and then the people who are processing the flour made of it. For example, we had Bimbo and Nestle talking about it. So the end use of the products. So each one has, if you look at it, that it lacks integration. So for example, I spoke to one of the director in IIW bar. Sir, we are flour millers and we don't get good wheat for making a good bread or paratha. He said, sir, our priorities are simple. We produce wheat, which is, our mandate from the government is 3. We have to produce disease resistant, drought resistant and high yielding varieties of wheat, which are suitable for making chapati, a flatbread. If any of these varieties are suitable for you to run your roller flour mill to produce flour which suits bread or cake or any of the finished products, you're most welcome to track it and do so. But as we were talking, it means how is this wheat getting, how is the seed getting distributed, how it is getting procured, because it's accumulating this a particular variety of seed is a very, very big challenge. As we are talking about the mandi system, everything just comes all into one bucket. So we have even raised this discussion with FCI. Sir, you are the largest buyer of wheat. Only you can change this trend. If you are able to price it differently between the different qualities, and if you procure by class and grade of wheat, then you are able to help us as a miller. We're able to buy from you at a higher price. Whereas the government's priority is different, to get the farmer get the highest prices. And the farmer is also changing all good wheat variety, or I won't say good, but his priorities are to produce a high yielding variety. So for his personal gains. So as a miller, it becomes a big challenge of what comes in is what goes out. So as a miller, what are the kind of wheat that we are able to procure is that with that determines the quality of the flour, however good your processing equipments and capabilities are. So with this, the downstream products, what we can produce out of it, it really affects it's a big challenge to maintain a standard. Okay, we are meeting something, this is what is with what is available for the Indian market, but how is it relevant for the global market? So with these kinds of opening notes, I would like to have, it raised a lot of questions in me. Are we relevant for any global opportunities? But unfortunately, I think with my present intelligence, I could only raise this question in my mind. That I don't have the intelligence to find the answers, but I think I have a panel of interesting people here around me. One is a scientist, one is an entrepreneur, one is a thought leader and a business consultant, and we have a lady from the bureaucracy, so who could enlighten me as well as the audience on this. So with this opening note, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Amit Goel. He's an entrepreneur. He's a pasta manufacturer who has a collaboration with an Italian company to produce pasta, and with his mission to bring in a really gourmet kind of pasta to the Indian diaspora. So I would like to welcome him to give his address. Yeah, sure. You have a presentation, right? So should we spread out?
Very good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible enough. So my name is Amit Goel. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and we brought in a technology of artisanal pasta manufacturing to India way back in 2011. And since then, we've never looked back. We've kept the industry growing. We've had our own share of troubles as well. So with this, I'll just quickly get you to know what we do. So this is Gustora, an artisanal pasta manufacturing unit. So we are a joint venture with an Italian company called Rusticilla di Abruzzo, which has been manufacturing pasta since 1924. And in the world, there are only, companies that you can count on your fingertips who are still using the total artisanal quality methods and techniques to produce pasta. We use the best quality durum wheat semolina, slow drying process, bronze dyes, and Italian artisanal production methods. This is the kind of range that we have. Variety, convenience, and health is what we focused at. 30 plus unique shapes, high protein, multi-grain options, and fusion flavors. We'll talk about the fusion flavors a little later. So this is a few range of products that we make. So we were one of the only companies to start manufacturing the long cut pasta, spaghetti, spaghettoni, fettuccine. And it was quite a challenge, but since we had the backup or the backbone of Rusticilla di Abruzzo, we could maintain and sustain the quality. This is some of our specialty range. So we have a cylindrical tubular pasta called paccheri, rigatoni, canolici, and we've never failed to resist the temptation of giving the Indian consumer the shape that's delivered across the world. So we just didn't limit ourselves to a penne, fusilli, and macaroni. So this is in lieu with today's trend. So we innovated a pasta which would boil in 3.5 minutes, and if you add the flavor, this has a sauce maker, so we had it in 3 varieties. It's a quick pasta. Within 5 minutes, your pasta is ready. This is the kid-shaped pasta. I feel very pleasured in introducing this pasta. So, कई बार, I hope I can speak in Hindi as well as English. कई बार कई mothers मेरे को thank you करने आती हैं, बोलती है हमारा बच्चा बीमार था और वो खाने को तैयार नहीं था. So they made a game out of this pasta and they could feed them. So I feel very pleasured with that. So quality in the grain is what Indore could provide me. What correct semolina made out of durum wheat was rightly produced here. And we actually worked very extensively with our millers, took them to Italy to understand the draw and how to create the best quality semolina without tampering the protein content. So we have indigenous durum wheat, which is 12% protein, meets the global requirements. The milling expertise was brought in from Italy to a certain extent, and it definitely reduced our import dependency on good quality pasta. This is a small video of how the silo system works to store the grain. This is our dosing. We dose under a strategic pressure. That's our extrusion, a high quality extrusion at a 90 bar pressure. We have static drying methods where we dry the pasta for over 18 to 20 hours. That's the packaging line. So from grain to greatness is what we delivered. So we had a scalable storage system after we introduced the silos to store the semolina. We had production integration, we had quality preservation because the handling reduced a lot, and it was efficient transfer. This is one thing that we want to introduce in the coming time. So this is how, can you play it? Gentlemen, how do you play this? So this is the pneumatic transfer system which happens in Italy, where they bring the truck and they just put it like a, जैसे milk का van आता है, वैसे ही semolina का van आता है एक, and they just fill in the silo with a pneumatic pressure system. This is something that we want to integrate in the coming times. So that's the next thing we want to look at, which is the blockchain, so that we have more confidence with the consumer on our product. Once a QR code is stamped on our packet, they can actually scan the QR code and go back whether it's actually original, organic or not. That's it. So that was us, and I thank the chair and the panelists to give me this opportunity to introduce Gustora to this lovely crowd. Thank you very, very much.
Wonderful, wonderful presentation. And there was a lot of passion and intent in the way you presented. And you just didn't stop with pasta. You went all the way for the sauce, the entire diaspora. Maybe just add a bit of wine to it to complete the whole basket. Welcome.
Please.
Next speaker would be Mr. Suresh D. Sakre. He's a scientist from CFTRI and a very good friend of mine. He's here to talk about damaged starch reduction and reduction of wheat bran, which is of real relevance when it's for the millers at a point when DDG is becoming a real threat to the industry.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. A very warm good morning to all of you. This is Dr. Suresh Sakre. I'm a Senior Principal Scientist, Course Coordinator at the International School of Milling Technology, CSIR, CFTRI, Mysore, and I will be talking on to the topic of damaged starch and the functionality of the flour, how the damaged starch is going to have the influence onto the functionality of the flour in respect of the millers as well as the bakers is concerned. So we look at the chemical and the botanical components or composition of the grain. We can see that the starch is the major chemical component that plays a very important role into the functional property of a flour as well as the baked product. We have almost 70% of starches into the whole grain, and that is going to become almost 80% into your refined wheat flour. When you talk about the starches, we have the two type of starches. We have amylopectin and the amylose in the form that are present. Amylose is the alpha-1,4 chain, straight chain polymer, and then amylopectin is alpha-1,6 linked branch chain molecule. Around 70% will be amylopectin. When you talk about the starches which are present into the wheat, if you look at the starches varies in shape, size and property based on to the kind of cereal all the pulses it comes from. So when it comes to the wheat, we have a two type of starches. One we can call it as a type 8 starch, and basically which is bigger in size. In terms of size, it is around 30 micron and average size, and 90% of weight that is contributing towards the starches comes from the A type of starches. We have another starch called as a round starch. B type of starch is small in structure, which is around 1 to 10 micron in size and 90% in number. Okay, so that is contributed from the B type of starches. So when you look at the matrix, how the starches are sitting inside the wheat grain, as we know that it is from the endosperm. So in the endosperm, we have the A and B type of starches. They are sitting inside the protein matrix. So protein becomes a cementing material for them. And when what happens during the milling, when grinding start, the starches come out individually, and your entire structure of the endosperm will getting disturbed. And we have kind of some starches during this process get physically damaged. Okay, so and that is we call it as a damaged starch. When you look at the starches type and the damage of the starch, A starches being bigger in size are more susceptible to the damage, and then most of the damaged starch comes from the A type of starches. When you talk about the starch damage, the starch is having an internal crystalline structure, and when you talk about the damages, the internal crystalline structure has to completely get destroyed. That is what we call it as a starch damage, and they are more susceptible to the enzyme activity, typically a starch degrading enzyme activity. From the Miller point of view, we must also understand that what are the different type of starch damages, and which is one which we consider as a main starch damage, which is having much more role into the functionality of the flour. So we have three type of starch damage. One we call it as a chipped or split one. In this case, we can see this is again because of the kind of a less pressure what we put during the milling. There is some kind of a skin coming out of the starches, very peripheral level. Then we have the radical cracks, having some cracks onto the surface of your starches. In both the cases, whether it is chipped or the radical cracks, their internal crystalline structure remains the same. That means there is no damage to the internal structure, and that we should not consider as a starch damage. So the last one, which is the flatten and deform. So there is completely change into the shape and the size of your starch due to the excessive pressure or the kind of pressure we put during the milling is called as a starch damage. And in this you can see it, there is a complete destruction of internal structure of your starch. Let us discuss about what are the different factors which are responsible, or how the starch damage can be controlled into the milling system. So let us start with the 3 points. We will talk about pre-milling, during milling, and the post-milling approaches. When you take example of a pre-milling approach, it depends on the type of a grain what you are going to grind. Typically, if you classify the wheat, we discuss about the soft wheat and the hard wheat. So when you compare between them, there is a structural difference between the soft and the hard wheat. In case of a soft wheat, the arrangement of a protein and the starches matrix is loose, what we can see it. But in case of a hard wheat, it is a tightly packed matrix, and hard wheat being endosperm hard or require a lot of pressure. So when you have the hard wheat, we are going to get a starch damage more when you are producing the flour. Similarly, the semi-crystalline amylopectin are more susceptible to the starch damage than the amorphous amylose. So when it comes to the part of the preparation of the milling, we have the cleaning and the conditioning. Conditioning plays a very vital role which have direct influence onto your damaged starch. Typically, we do the conditioning, as Miller knows, that to mellow the endosperm, to toughen the bran. So when you don't do this milling conditioning properly, for example, you have a low moisture milling, or maybe you have a conditioning time less. In that case, what is going to happen? Your endosperm is not properly mellowed, and the amount of energy, amount of pressure we require to convert them into the flour is more, and that results into the more starch damage. There are a lot of factors that plays a role. If you take example from the milling, take an example of a roller mill. We have a feeding, we have the RPM of the feed, thickness of the feed. Today we have the roller mill. Yesterday also we discussed about they have better control onto the feeding. So you can increase the thickness, you can decrease the thickness. So thinner is a feeding, better is the pressure applied, and more could be a damaged starch. Depending on the kind of surface what we have the break rolls, grooved, fluted rolls, you have the matte finish roll, you have the polish roll, you have the tapered roll. So when it comes to the taper roll with the matte finish, you have better control onto the grinding and also onto the damaged starch. One of the important factor, the differential between the roll, usually our reduction rolls works at 1:1.25, break as 1:2.5. As the differential goes up, your starch damage. So differential plays very important role into the starch damage. Roll speed, not much more having the impact, but high speed, thin feeding, better grinding pressure, and more could be a starch damage. The diameter of the roll, we have the different diameter. Usually we use the 250 and the 300 mm diameter. So as the diameter of the roll increases, your damaged starch will come down. So wherever you are supplying the flour to the could be a noodle manufacturer or could be a pasta manufacturer, their requirement could be having a low starch damage flour. So we should design a plant by using a higher diameter rolls compared to the another important factor, the pressure, how much you are going to put. So higher is the pressure during the milling, more is a damaged starch. How your sifters are working properly, how is your flow sheet. So the stock which is incoming onto the reduction roll, basically if it is contain the bran works as a cushioning material, and your pressure, whatever you apply, starch damage is going to be a less. The another problem Miller face is the quantum of flour that is available into the incoming stock. This also forms a cushioning material, don't allow your roll to grind properly, and starch damage becomes the less. When you talk about the brake system as well as the reduction system, in the brake system, we have much more gap, we have less pressure, starch damage will be less. In the reduction roll, we put a lot of pressure to convert your endosperm into the fine flour below 150 micron. We produce a more starch damage. Apart from the milling, you can see it, a type of milling could be, this is the one of the study we have done in 2015. We took a different kind of milling systems that uses a different kind of principles, and we can see the highest starch damage is found into the chakki mill, the stone mill, followed by the hammer mill, and then we have a disc mill, and the roller mill could be a lowest starch damage. Among the stone adjustment, this is also another study we have done in 2017. We can see very clear that we have adjusted the stone gap between 1.7 mm to 0.2 mm. The starch damage, which is around 12%, has gone up to 25%. So we have a control from different grinding system. That could be one of the control we can use when you want to produce a kind of a specialty flours and so on. Now we will talk about the post milling. What is going to happen after the milling? After the milling, we have basically streams. The streams comes from the break and reduction streams. This is another study we have done in 2015. So when you look at what is the pattern into the break system, as the number of break increases, you go from B1 to B5, your starch damage go on increasing, and there is true fall. Also the reduction roll, and I will not go to the SCM part of it. I will cut down that. This could be interesting study. You can see this is a plant capacity 132 tons per day hard wheat from Bangalore. We got a 5 break and 9 reduction. Usually we do the cumulative ash curve. So this is cumulative damage starch curve to get a better understanding of how you are going to control or optimize. So this graph can be really useful for the millers to produce a customized flour within the mill system as per the requirement of the baker. So you can see that the less quantity of a flour in terms of quantity, and the damage starch come from the break system, then it goes to the middle, and the last reduction and the last break system, you can see that starch damage is more. So you look at the starting from 7.12 till 14.35, we have entire range of starch damage that comes from the different milling system. Could be another approach in the post milling. We need not to really work onto the milling. Take your flour, classify them into the different particle size. You will get a flour with different functionality, including the starch damage. This is another study from, I think, 2014. You have the 75 micron flour, and you can see the starch damage is quite higher than the control one. Control one is around 8.5, and this is going 10.5. So particle size play a very vital role into the starch damage. What about anything can be done? Yes, we can treat the flour. So I take a flour, I have a kind of treatment, then I do the air classification, I get a fraction with high starch damage, blend them with my flour, make a customized flour. And today I think last 1.5 days we are talking about the customized flour as per the requirement of a customer, as per the requirement of a product, can be possible by using this. Another approach, wheat grain, wheat treatment. I was lucky to part of this project where we used to treat the grain in modern plant Bangalore, and we used to supply to the Naga for the grinding. 2002, just I want to emphasize on that one to increase the starch damage. I'll just took another 5 minutes. So if you look at how the functionality changes over the starch damage. So starch damages, the advantage is it absorbs more water. They are more susceptible to the enzyme activity. They are more in digestibility, and they require low energy for the cooking and then if you look at the entire matrix of a water absorption of a flour, we can see the wherever native starch are there, they absorb the water of 0.4% of their weight, but starch damage could be 2 to 3%. So it's very clear that by increasing the 0.5% damage starch into my flour, I am going to increase the 1% of water absorption. 100 kg of the bag of maida will give me almost 4 loaf volume of bread extra. That is another, I think today's date, around 300 to 400 rupees extra benefit to my baker, and that is intervention from the miller. So it plays a very important role because starch damages are responsible for producing more sugar during the baking process, and that is responsible. That becomes basically food for the yeast, giving a good color and the volume for your bread. So texture improvement, it becomes softer, taste improvement, good color, and so on. And when you talk about the flour for the bread, it should be optimum. It should not be low in starch damage. more in star damage result into the sticky dough, dark color bread, and the less low volume. Very vital, our own chapati produced from the whole wheat flour, around 16 to 18% of ideal starch damage that is required, and that is what the difference between people ask the atta which is produced into the stone mill and the roller mill. So stone mill is preferred for the better starch damage. Pasta, as we add the water, we should have less. Noodles, we should have less starch damage. Cake, already we produce it from the soft wheat. The starch damages are less. So I think of your milling, it produces some amount of starch damage are going to produce, but you can control the starch damage, and we have different ways to do it. But always remember that when you are trying to do that one, nothing work in isolation. Milling always I tell about. No, so please be careful about having one change which result into the number of another 10 different changes into your system. So thank you very much. I think we will take the question at the end of the session. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sakre. I think we appreciate the work done by them, because this is work done with using the Indian wheat. So this is very specific to our thing. And as a miller, I mean, scientists, they are in a different orbit. So here we are talking about global collaborations and trade, but it is they are inventors. So it is for us, invention is to bringing into existence something which wasn't. And so our discovery. It is for the entrepreneurs to innovate and make a commercial sense to it and explore an opportunity out of it. So I think we thank you for the kind of wonderful work that has been done. Our next speaker for the day would be Deepti Thakur. Ma'am, she's from the Ministry of Food Processing, and she would throw light on the government opportunity, the public policy and the opportunities for enhancing global trade.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be a part of this such eminent panel here. And first of all, starting with brief introduction, my name is Deepti Thakur. I'm from Invest India. Invest India is a national investment promotion and facilitation agency working under the aegis of Ministry of Commerce and Industry. We support domestic and foreign investors and support these companies in grounding their projects in India. Being a part of the sector team, we work closely with the Ministry of Food Processing Industries to support the investors in this particular sector. So for today, I have World Food India, and I am sure you must be aware of this initiative, this flagship initiative of Ministry of Food Processing Industries. As we all know that the food processing sector has been witnessing significant growth in past years. Excuse me. Okay, thank you. The food processing sector has been witnessing significant growth in past years, and to capitalize on this growing interest, the Ministry of Food Processing Industries is organizing the 4th edition of World Food India from 25th to 28th of September in New Delhi. The objective of this event is to exhibit innovation-driven solutions, explore opportunities for investment, promote India as a food basket to the world, and boost investment interest, both domestic and foreign investors. The key elements of World Food India 2025 will be exhibition and showcasing opportunity, conferences, thematic state and country sessions, startup grand challenge to promote innovations in this sector, industry roundtable with the policy makers, B2B, B2G and G2G meetings, buyer-seller meet, and a dynamic food street. The exhibited expected participant profile will include the stakeholders across the value chain, starting from policy makers, industry associations, academia, the financial institutions, etc. In terms of key highlights of World Food India 2024, this was the 4-day mega event, which was inaugurated by the Honorable Minister of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution and New and Renewable Energy, Honorable Minister of Food Processing Industries, and Honorable Minister of State of Food Processing Industries and Railways. For key highlights of World Food India 2024, the event witnessed participation of 10 ministries and departments of Government of India, participation from 8 associated bodies, 16 international delegations, participation from 26 states and union territories, 40 thematic and country and allied sessions, and there were around 14 G2G meetings that were held during World Food India 2024. For international participation, Japan, Iran, and Vietnam were the partner and focus countries. There were around 20 countries who exhibited at World Food India 2024. There were official delegations from around 10 countries, which includes Australia, Kuwait, Sri Lanka, USA, etc. There were 6 bilateral meetings that were conducted during this mega event with Djibouti, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Madagascar, Bhutan, and Palestine. The 3rd India Joint Working Group was also conducted during this mega event. There were more than 800 international buyers from more than 100 countries and more than 16,000 reverse bioseller meetings conducted during this mega event. These are the few glimpses of World Food India 2024 international participation. In terms of domestic participation, the event witnessed participation from 15 states who exhibited. There were 7 focus states, 4 partner states, and around 13 central state ministers participated in this event. For participation of central ministries and departments, the event witnessed a whole of government approach wherein more than 10 ministries and departments participated in this event, and there were around 8 commodity boards as well. Startup Grand Challenge, again, the ministry has been taking this initiative to promote innovations in this particular sector, and the 2nd edition of Startup Grand Challenge was launched in 2024 across the 3 problem statements, which included valorization of residue waste, novel technologies for development of nutritious and palatable food, improving water use efficiency. The winners of these particular Grand Challenge were being felicitated at World Food India and now are being incubated by NIFTIMS. The key highlight of this mega event was the high-level CEO roundtable, which was co-chaired by the Honorable Union Minister, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and Honorable Minister for Ministry of Food Processing Industries. There were around 11 senior officials from allied ministries and departments who participated in this roundtable, and more than 100 global CEOs of domestic and foreign companies participated in this roundtable. The theme pavilion showcased India's strength in the food processing sector and underlined the schemes and initiatives taken by the MOFPI. This pavilion was built with a cutting-edge, modern and immersive interactive walkthrough. As I mentioned, there were 40 sessions that were conducted over a period of 3 days. This included sessions from partner and focus countries, partner and focus states, and allied departments. This is the gist of few industry partners for World Food India 24. And with this, this brings to the end of my presentation. I would request you all to leverage this platform and participate in World Food India 2025 to explore, connect, and collaborate. There is a small video I would also want to present about World Food India, if you could please. Thank you.
Score a hat-trick as the 3rd edition of World Food India was unveiled from 19th to 22nd September at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi by the Ministry of Food Processing Industries, Government of India. an outstanding demonstration of a whole of government approach where every entity comes together to highlight their strengths and showcase their full potential. The event was inaugurated by Honorable Ministers Shri Prahlad Joshi, Shri Chirag Paswan and Shri Ravneet Singh. The inaugural session also included the launch of food processing units, disbursement of seed capital and credit-linked support under various schemes. The winners of the Startup Grand Challenge were also awarded. World Food India served as a remarkable platform to showcase India's vast agricultural base and immense production capacity. Supported by a readily available and rapidly developing infrastructure for food processing and an expansive consumer base, with a focus on sustainability, driven by innovative technology, moving towards becoming the food basket of the world. Spread over 70,000 square meters with more than 1,500 exhibitors, the 4 days provided a golden opportunity to showcase, connect and collaborate. A global investment hub with opportunities like never before. The spotlight was on partner country Japan and focus countries Iran and Vietnam, 4 partner states and 7 focus states, and partner ministries and associate organizations in all their glory. CEO roundtables saw a confluence of the top global and domestic industry leaders, conference sessions, B2B and B2G meetings, 14 G2G meetings with an India-Japan joint working group meeting, and reverse buyer-seller meets with international and domestic buyers. Dedicated pavilion segments highlighted sectors that demonstrated exceptional performance. The Ministry of Food Processing Industries Pavilion saw sustainability meeting technology while highlighting the glorious achievements of schemes and initiatives. A Global Food Regulators Summit added new dimensions to this one-of-a-kind event. The Great Indian Food Street encompassed the flavors of Bharat with celebrity chefs showcasing their skills live. MOUs were signed between NIFTEM and stakeholders, paving the path towards prosperity. After the grand success of 2024, the journey continues as we open new doors. Now the Government of India presents a much larger canvas for World Food India, covering 100,000 square meters at Bharat Mandapam, Pragati Maidan, Delhi, from 25th September to 28th September 2025. Come, join and forge new collaborations at the largest food processing event in South Asia, the World Food India 2025.
I think that's a wonderful video presentation. We could see how the government is not just just framing a policy, but is also getting into the act. And it's a wonderful, it's very good to see that, so the food processing we never used to talk about this as a sector, but it's a sunrise sector and a priority sector for the government. And we as millers should, I think we should not just stop with just milling. I should forward integrate into food processing and seek this opportunity. Then our next speaker for the day, I've reserved him for the last because he's one of the people who's he's been with the industry for a very long time. He's been in McKinsey as a consultant, and working in US, UK, and Africa. And then he's now professing at IIM Kolkata, and he's also has worked with many startup companies and with multinationals in bringing in joint collaborations for companies like Unilever, Nestle into other countries. So very eager to welcome you, sir, Mr. Sanjay Singh. You can take the proven path.
Wish you a very good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon. All right, thank you so much. I know it's really difficult to be the speaker just before lunch, where everyone is thinking कि खाना कब आएगा. All right. तो वीट की दुनिया में है दोस्तों, और खाना वही खिलाइए जो सामने वाले का जायका है. So I would like to serve you things which probably you have in your mind, all right, rather than pushing some gyan unsolicited from my side. I have come up with some stories during my days at McKinsey when I worked abroad across various countries for various commodities, with Hindustan Lever, with Nestle, and with some other companies for cotton and some other commodities. So I'll bring some live stories from where we can draw the morale. But before I really start, I would like to know from people sitting here, we are talking of global cooperation, we are talking of leadership. इस सभा में बैठे हुए कितने लोग मिलर्स हैं? अगर आप हाथ उठा के बताएं. All right, so I can see around 20-25 millers. And how many of you are academicians? Academicians? All right, so I can see 2-3 academicians. And balance are probably traders who are associated with this industry, right? तो इवेंट मैनेजर, अगर आप माइक थोड़ा क्राउड में देंगे प्लीज, माइक थोड़ा आगे दीजिए. आई वुड लाइक टू हियर लाइव व्हाट आर योर चैलेंजेस vis-a-vis global cooperation and leadership. Do you have any question in your mind which you think we should address? I think that would be serving the right food to the right people. So if you have any question on leadership and global cooperation, just raise your hand and put forward your question. Yeah, wonderful.
Good
You
afternoon,
can please
sir.
stand up and introduce yourself. Thank you.
Myself, Sunny Bihari. I am working in Parak Agro as a head miller. I have one question for all traders, especially for owners. They are looking good millers, you know. But in India, what is big problem? They are looking good miller and good product, but they are not giving good payment, you know. They are taking as much as you want from market, but they are not able to pay like SMTN millers. I am not asking about what traditional millers. I am SMTN miller. So this is the main problem here in Indian market. So that's why we are not able to give good quality, like hygienic. Like now I am facing a problem, Capital Foods. They are asking good product, like TVC count, they have some measurement. So we are not able to give, because in my factory, like more factory in India, they are keeping only, you know, 10,000, 20,000 like people. They
All right, I get your question.
Yeah.
Keep it short, so that we can take more questions.
So my question is, how will improve this one? Like a hygiene point of view and quality point of view.
राइट आपका क्वेश्चन बहुत दिल से निकला है कि जो दाम मिलना चाहिए वो
जी,
मिलता नहीं,
जी.
और बड़ी बड़ी बातें होती है.
जी, बिल्कुल.
इज दैट योर क्वेश्चन?
Yes, right.
Okay. All right, so you see, as an academician, I can tell you that price is not what you desire you get. Price is a question of an equilibrium between demand and supply. तो हर बनाने वाला जो चाहता, अगर उसको वो प्राइस मिल जाती, तो फिर देयर वाज मतलब कैपिटलिज्म, मार्केटिंग, बाजार, मार्केट प्लेस, इनकी कोई जगह नहीं थी, राइट? आपके क्वेश्चन में एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट सवाल जुड़ा है दोस्तों, दैट व्हाई इज इट दैट इन ए कमोडिटी मार्केट इवन टुडे, इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द स्टील मार्केट, व्हाई इज इट दैट टाटा स्टील गेट्स ए प्रीमियम? कमोडिटी मार्केट है. तो जब हम कमोडिटी की बात करते हैं, एंड व्हीट इज ऑल्सो अ कमोडिटी, प्रोडक्ट जो आप बेच रहे हैं वो कमोडिटी है, बट क्या बेचने वाले की एटीट्यूड भी कमोडिटी है? अगर हाँ, तो आप घर से भी गए और बाजार से भी गए. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से. इवन इफ यू आर डीलिंग विद ए कमोडिटी, यू कैनॉट हैव एन एटीट्यूड ऑफ ए कमोडिटी सेलर. कहने का मतलब यह है दोस्तों कि जब आप अपना सामान बेच रहे हो, व्हेन यू आर सेलिंग योर व्हीट, व्हाट आर द स्टेप्स दैट यू टेक टू make it a differentiated product? What are the steps that you take to give some semblance of a brand to it. Because in the international market, even commodities they sell with a brand. I mean, I remember when I was doing this project from McKinsey on behalf of Nestle, and I'm talking about a story somewhere in Ghana, where we had gone there to meet the farmers who were working on the chocolate raw material. And when we entered the country, there was a huge entourage which came to pick us up at the airport. I was a small pappu then. This is an old story, almost around 35 years back. I had just joined McKinsey, and I was there with my senior managing partner, one Mr. Frederick. And we just entered Ghana. A good group of entourage came to pick us up. We went to the fields. Something equivalent to all the big-time millers there. So all the big-time farmers, growers, they were there, lined up in their suits, in the best of hotel and everything. And our meeting started, and Mr. Frederick, who was my boss then, he asked a very simple question to all the big daddies sitting in the hall. And I'm sure there are a lot of big daddies sitting here as well. He asked one very simple question that, gentlemen and ladies, I know that you are big, I know that you are successful, I know कि आपका कारोबार बहुत बड़ा है, आप बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हो. All right? And congratulations for that. But आज मैं चाहता हूँ आपको देखना नहीं चाहता हूँ मैं. I don't want to study anything about you. Can you take me to 5 growers of the raw material who have grown because of you? देखिए सवाल बड़ा सिंपल सा है. जी सर, आप कुछ पूछना चाह रहे हैं? एक बार माइक दे दीजिए प्लीज. नहीं सर, माइक है ना जी.
कमोडिटी और फूड में यदि आपकी क्वालिटी बेस्ट है तो आपको कुछ भी करने की ज़रूरत नहीं, ना एडवर्टाइजमेंट करने की ज़रूरत, ना पब्लिसिटी करने की ज़रूरत. एग्जाम्पल हमारे सामने हैं, श्री पंकज गोयल जी बैठे हैं. एक बार सबको शक्ल दिखा दो अपनी. कैलाश ग्रेन मिल्स प्राइवेट लिमिटेड इंदौर. ये पता नहीं कहाँ से पढ़ के आए हैं, बट ड्यूरम व्हीट की क्वालिटी किसी भी मंडी में जहाँ भी पैदा होता है सबसे बढ़िया ये खरीदते हैं. और इन्होंने बेचने वाला कोई एम्प्लॉय नहीं रखा हुआ है, 2 दलालों के थ्रू बेचते हैं ये अपना प्रोडक्ट. केसरी रवा. सर मैं पब्लिसिटी नहीं कर रहा आपकी लेकिन सच्चाई बता रहा हूँ. बैम्बिनो इसके पीछे चलती है. जब मैंने बैम्बिनो ज्वाइन किया था 2011 में, तो उस टाइम उन लोगों ने ये कहा था हम लोग कोई एडवर्टाइजमेंट नहीं करते, आप कैसे प्रोडक्ट को प्रमोट करोगे, तो इसका मतलब आप लोग क्वालिटी बेच रहे हो. बट उनके भी बाप हैं पंकज गोयल, सीधी बात बता दें. उससे पहले मैंने कारगिल इंडिया ज्वाइन किया था. कारगिल इंडिया 2002 से 2011 तक था. उस टाइम मैं समझता था कि कारगिल वर्ल्ड वाइड बहुत बड़ी कंपनी है और क्वालिटी में तो कतई समझौता नहीं करती. बट उससे बेस्ट बैम्बिनो, देन बेस्ट ये पंकज जी.
थैंक यू सर.
इसका बताने का मतलब ये है, कंपनियों को भूल जाओ, कंपनी अपनी जगह से. क्वालिटी इज द बेस्ट और कुछ नहीं है.
बहुत अच्छी बात है. और इत्तेफाक से पंकज जी को मैं जानता हूँ और आपकी बात बिल्कुल सच है. बट सो मैं ये बताना चाह रहा था दोस्तों, भैया ने ये बताया कि क्वालिटी इम्पॉर्टेंट है. तो हर अच्छी बिकने वाली चीज़ की क्वालिटी अच्छी होती है, बट हर चीज़ जिसकी क्वालिटी अच्छी होती है वो अच्छा नहीं बिकता है. आशा करता हूँ आप मेरी बात समझ रहे हैं. तो क्वालिटी का तो होना ज़रूरी है ही, लेकिन क्वालिटी के साथ साथ you also have to invest something in brand. और अगर आप लोग को ये लगता है कि ब्रांड का मतलब है एक सुंदर सा लोगो या एक सुंदर सा नाम या एक सुंदर सा पैकेजिंग या ये एक सुंदर सा कोई मॉडल जो आपके प्रोडक्ट को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है, तो मैं बहुत अथॉरिटी के साथ ये बोलना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि ये मेरा सब्जेक्ट है, कि वो ब्रांडिंग का सिर्फ 1% है. All right? So 99% of the brand journey is something to do with the customer experience that you are able to create. Right? आपके जो उपभोक्ता हैं, आप अगर B2B बिजनेस में हैं तो जो ट्रेडर्स आपके साथ जुड़े हैं, अगर आप B2C बिजनेस में हैं तो जो उपभोक्ता, जो एंड यूज़र आपके साथ जुड़े हैं, उनकी ओवरऑल एक्सपीरियंस कैसी है आपके ब्रांड को लेके, आपके व्यवहार को लेके, आपके पॉलिसीज़ को लेके और आपको लेके, वो डिसाइड करेगा कि आपकी क्वालिटी कितनी अच्छी है. और दोस्तों ये भी बताना चाहूँगा कि आज के इस बाज़ार में, in today's market, you can assume that the top 2, 3, 4, 5 players are almost same. In fact, अगर ऐसा बोलूँ कि they are same, तो गलत नहीं होगा. तो in a marketplace where you are competing with another product or another seller who is as good as you or maybe slightly better than you, you have to understand the importance of bit on the brand journey. और मैं जो आपको मैकेंजी की स्टोरी बता रहा था घाना की, तो यकीन मानिए 2 लोगों ने बोला कि सर चलो हम दिखाते हैं. एंड जस्ट टू कट द लॉन्ग स्टोरी शॉर्ट, हम उनके साथ गए. एंड व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड टॉकिंग टू द इंडिविजुअल ग्रोअर्स ऑफ द प्लांटेशन, वी रियलाइज दैट देयर वाज नॉट अ सिंगल रुपी इनपुट or single dollar input at that point of time from these so-called big people. All right? So what I'm trying to say, friends, is when you're talking of global cooperation, when you're talking of leadership, when you're talking of global marketplace, you have to understand one thing, that आप अकेले कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Decision making is a slave of choices. है ना? अगर मेरे पास कोई choice ही नहीं है तो मैं क्या ही कर सकता हूँ? What can I do? I can't do anything. अभी इसके पहले ग्रुप डिस्कशन में चर्चा हो रही थी कि एक सज्जन ने बताया कि बिकॉज ऑफ पुअर पैकेजिंग कितने मिलियन टन्स का वीट वेस्ट हो रहा है, और जस्ट इसको थोड़ा सा पैकेजिंग चेंज कर दीजिए तो भारत सरकार इतनी मिलियन टन वीट बचा सकती है. वेरी गुड स्टैटिस्टिक्स, वेरी गुड ऑब्जर्वेशन. बट मुझे एग्जैक्ट इकोनॉमिक्स तो नहीं पता, बट अगर मैं कॉमन सेंस से कैलकुलेट करूं कि आई एम श्योर द कॉस्ट ऑफ दैट पैकेजिंग cannot be it cannot be more than a very infinitesimal percentage of the amount of wheat that you are losing, as you claim in your statistics. Now, why? I mean, this is just a question that comes to my mind when we're talking of leadership. Why is it that organizations like ours, like WPPS and even more such congregations, why don't they come forward to facilitate this? Leadership is not about flaunting who you are. What you are, where you have reached, is an outcome of what you have done in the past. Period. That's over. Leadership is all about whom you are able to bring up to your level purely by basis of your efforts. आज मैं कुतुब मीनार के ऊपर खड़ा हूं बिकॉज मैंने बहुत मेहनत की है. चलो, वेरी गुड, दुनिया ने ताली मारा इसलिए मैं कुतुब मीनार के ऊपर खड़ा हूं. बट आज जब मैं पंच परमेश्वर के चेयर पे बैठा हूं, नाउ दैट आई एम ए लीडर, आई हैव टू कॉन्शियसली थिंक how many people are going to reach Qutub Minar, to the same place that I have been, or even further than that, because of my efforts. Do you agree with me? If you agree with me, then just give me a round of applause. All right. Thank you so much. That's where, you see, I started my career working for McKinsey. 1998, I came back to India, and ever since I have been into IIM Calcutta as an academician, and then down the line as a business consultant, as a growth consultant. I have worked in both the economies, and I can tell you, as individuals, as professionals, we are much smarter, much more intelligent, much more hardworking, much more innovative, much more jugadu. Everything is there in us. But there is one thing which is just not there in us. It is just not there in us, and that's our conscious practice of leadership. We just don't practice leadership in a very conscious sense of the term. हम में से हर एक व्यक्ति को ये पड़ी है कि मैं कैसे बड़ा हो जाऊं और एक बार मैं बड़ा हो जाता हूँ तो हमें बस यही पड़ी रहती कि कैसे सिर्फ मैं बड़ा बना रहूँ और दुनिया में कोई बड़ा ना हो. Do you agree with me? If you agree with me, friends, we are talking of leadership in the global cooperation zone. There are so many organizations. Just now, Ms. Thakur explained to us the kind of food expos that they are doing, the kind of industry connect they are creating. In your own, at your own level, I mean, if you are a very big miller in Chennai, you are a very big miller in Indore, great, you have arrived. But in your own concentric circle, what is the difference you are bringing? If you go and ask this honest question to yourself, in your own concentric circle, and you can create your own circle, you can say, मैं 100 किलोमीटर का रेडियस का दायरा बना लेता हूँ, और you can say, मैं 300 किलोमीटर का दायरा बना लेता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं थोड़ा ज़्यादा बड़ा राम हूँ. उस दायरे के अंदर आपने ग्लोबल कोऑपरेशन के लिए, उसको फैसिलिटेट करने के लिए क्या किया है, ये सवाल खुद को पूछिए. अगर हम सिर्फ यही बोलते रहेंगे कि दिस इज द जॉब ऑफ गवर्नमेंट और दिस इज द जॉब ऑफ समवन सिटिंग अप देयर, I don't think we have understood leadership in the correct sense of the term. It is everyone's job. Each one of us has to do it. If each one of us start contributing to this, और ये तो हमारा धंधा है दोस्तों, ये तो हमारा बिजनेस है, हम किसी परोपकारिता के लिए ये काम नहीं कर रहे हैं. दिस इज आवर बिजनेस. और अगर आपको ये सेंस आ जाए कि इसको करने से you are going to benefit in your business, I think that will be a great victory. All right, I have been working with lot of companies in this commodity domain, and believe me, as a consultant, most of my time goes towards highlighting the importance of customer experience, customer journey, and the conscious involvement in that journey, so that your product can be started looking upon as a brand. All right, because unless the world looks upon your product as a brand, no one will give you the increment, the price. जो भाई साहब शुरू में क्वेश्चन पूछा थे वहाँ पे, नहीं देगा कोई, क्योंकि कोई क्यों ही पैसा देगा. यूं ही कोई मोहब्बत नहीं करता, यूं ही कोई मोहब्बत नहीं करता. कुछ तो फितरत आपकी भी होनी चाहिए कि लोग आपके ऊपर न्यौछावर हो जाए. राइट? सो कमिंग टू यू सर, कमिंग टू यू, आई एम वेरी हैप्पी दैट यू आर एक्साइटेड. कमिंग टू यू, ऑलराइट, what we are also trying to understand here, friends, is that once you contribute in the brand journey and create those connects with the facilitation agencies, there are a lot of facilitation agencies in the country. When I sit back and look at the kind of initiatives that has been taken in our country, sitting at a neutral position, I always feel like saluting कि बाप रे इतनी सारी initiatives ली जाती है. हमारे देश में initiatives नहीं ली जाती, ये problem नहीं है दोस्तों. Initiatives जितनी जल्दी ली जाती है उतनी जल्दी मार दी जाती है. राइट? वी आर ऑल, हम सब के हाथ रंगे हुए हैं इस खून से, जहां हम सभी का कुछ न कुछ अंग होता है अच्छे अच्छे इनिशिएटिव्स का कत्ल करने में. And I don't want to take specific things. I know I am not politically correct when I make these statements in front of all of you. The idea is not to blame anyone. What I'm trying to say purely as an academician is that let us start investing our own bit towards global cooperation. Let us start asking ourselves as to how we can become a small, छोटा सा part in this entire journey, because things will unfold. Things will unfold. It's a journey. You have to start taking baby steps towards it. अगर हम ये बोलते रहेंगे कि मैं दुनिया का सबसे अच्छा मिलर हूँ, मैं दुनिया की सबसे अच्छी प्रोडक्ट बनाता हूँ, और मैं बहुत तादाद में धंधा करता हूँ, 10,000 टन 20,000 टन पर डे का मिलिंग करता हूँ, तो दोस्त कहानी वहीं ख़त्म हो जाएगी. क्योंकि इफ़ यू रियली वांट टू गो आउट ग्लोबली, जंगल में मोर नाचा किसने देखा? किसी ने नहीं देखा ना? तो ये कहानी आप जितनी ज़्यादा लोगों के सामने जाके बताएंगे, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट पॉजिटिव पब्लिक रिलेशंस, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट पॉजिटिव बिजनेस नेटवर्किंग, एंड आई एम ऑल्सो टॉकिंग अबाउट पॉजिटिव बिजनेस लीडरशिप. ग्लोबल कोऑपरेशन की बात हो रही है, तो ग्लोबल कोऑपरेशन के लिए ज़रूरी है दोस्तों कि आपको भी थोड़ा सा कुएं के बाहर निकलना पड़ेगा और आपको भी थोड़ा कुप मंडूक वाली जो डिजीज़ है उससे बाहर आना पड़ेगा. गो एंड स्मेल इट आउट देयर इन द वर्ल्ड. आई हैव सीन इट माई सेल्फ. आई कैन टेल यू इट इज़ नॉट एज डिफ़िकल्ट एज इट लुक्स. जब हम अपने अपने शहर में रह के सोचते हैं बाहर के बारे में, तो हमको एक बहुत बड़ी दुनिया दिखती है. ये दुनिया उतना डिफिकल्ट नहीं है. इट्स जस्ट अ मैटर ऑफ गोइंग आउट. आई एम देयर ड्यूरिंग लंच फॉर ऑल ऑफ यू. आई कैन सी पीपल glaring at me that I should not do my bakwas any further. So I'll stop it here. I'm there over lunch. And feel free to come up with your questions on global cooperation and leadership. I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you very much, friends.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sanjay Singh. You have given us two beautiful nuggets of wisdom. I think that, it's not enough that, and I think leadership as an attribute for us for global collaboration, that's a very interesting dimension to look at. The other one is that quality is it's not enough that we need to discriminate if we want premiumization even in a product like commodity. I think that's an interesting take on this. And just to sum it up, I would like to say, I had in one of the discussion in a Chinese collaboration, he said there's one industry that cannot be taken away from India. And if India takes the efforts in the right direction, you can be the breadbasket of the world. We have the highest arable land in this country. And if this is, if the irrigation system, whatever agriculture has been focused, we have enough, it's not about the land mass, but it is the soil, climate, water, everything that goes to that mass makes it arable. So the highest arable land in this world is sitting here. So there's a complete untapped resource. So, I believe, I'm a believer of 80-20, the Pareto principle. So, there are 3 80-20s I saw in this couple of days. One is that only 20% of land is irrigated and 80% is rain-fed. So this transition happens, that's a huge potential. The second one is only 20% of the wheat that gets produced goes into roller flour mills. The remainder is consumed as atta. There's an interesting statistic that by 2040 or 2050, this shift will happen. That is 80% will be going into roller flour mills and 20% will be consumed as atta. And that we are seeing with the eating patterns that's been discussed with all the people. And as an industry, what we have seen the development in the last 80 years is we are going to witness in the next 20 years, because India is such a large consumption economy. So we really need not look beyond. So this could be the captive market, and we can open out with such collaborations to look at the export markets also. So thank you all for and my co-speakers for this wonderful opportunity. I leave you with this thought, and thank you WPPS for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you so much for making it absolutely informative, inviting and inspiring. On this note, we would like to invite upon the stage Mr. Sunil Agarwal and Mr. Pankaj Goyal to please come on the stage and help us to facilitate this particular panel. We would like to start with Mr. Vijay Anand, who was the chair for this session. I invite Mr. Pankaj Goyal and Mr. Sunil Agarwal to please come forward and help us to facilitate. Mr. Vijay Anand, he is the Vice President, Naga Limited. I would like to invite Mr. Amit Goyal to receive the sense of gratitude from WPPS CEO Conclave 2025. Mr. Goyal has given a lot of insights about the variety of pasta and the impact of it in the business. We request Dr. Suresh to please come forward, and I invite once again Mr. Sunil Agarwal and Mr. Pankaj Goyal to please help us to present the memento to Dr. Suresh. The scientific side of wheat we have got to learn from the gentleman. We would like to invite Mr. Sanjay Singh, the MDP faculty. I guess Mr. Singh has made everybody a friend here. आप सब दोस्त बन चुके हैं संजय जी के, और लंच पे आप सबके पास मौका होगा सर के साथ और बेहतर तरीके से कनेक्ट करने का. So Mr. Sanjay Singh, we request a lot of gratitude to you for your wisdom. And now we would like to invite Ms. Deepti Thakur. Ma'am has extended an invite to all of you all to go and join in World Food India. Thank you so much. I invite the whole panel and the dignitaries to please come and join in for a picture. I invite Mr. Sunil Agarwal and Pankaj Goyal ji also to please join the frame for the picture. I invite the complete panel, please come forward and join in for the picture. And here we get ready for the next session. We would like to request Mr. Vishwa Mohan to be ready for being the chair for our next session. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Please join us in our guest, and then we are straight going to the next session. And I would like to invite Mr. Vishwa Mohan to be the chair for our next session, which is all about enhancing supply chain and partnership. Mr. Vishwa Mohan is editor ET Now, and he would be the chair for our next session. We would like to request Mr. Udit Jain, the MD, Victoria Food Private Limited, Rajdhani Group. Mr. Udit Jain, I humbly request Mr. Jain to please come forward and join us in the panel. Next is Mr. Manish Dabkara. I request Mr. Manish Dabkara, CMD, EKI Energy Services Limited, to please come and grace the dais with the presence. Next, we would like to request Mr. Gaurang Kalanturi, the director of Kalanturi Brothers Private Limited. Mr. Gaurang Kalanturi, I request you to please come and join us at the dais. Once again, I repeat, if Mr. Udit Jain, the MD, Victoria Food Private Limited, Rajdhani Group, we request Mr. Jain to please come and join us on stage. I invite Mr. Bhupendra Negi, to please come and join us for the panel discussion. Mr. Udit Jain. So this session is chaired by Vishwa Mohan. He is the editor, ET Now. And our first panelist is Mr. Udit Jain. He is the MD, Victoria Foods Private Limited, Rajdhani Group. Next is Mr. Manish Dabkara, CMD, EKI Energy Services Limited. And our next panelist is Mr. Gaurang Kalanturi, the director of Kalanturi Brothers Private Limited. And our another panelist is Mr. Bhupendra Negi. So this panel looks full of dynamic leaders from the different walks of life. I over to Mr. Vishwa Mohan, and I appreciate the punctuality and the respect for time from everybody. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू सो मच. थैंक यू WPPS इस मौके के लिए और ये प्लेटफॉर्म आपने मुहैया किया. थैंक यू सो मच आप सभी का. सप्लाई चेन के बारे में बातचीत करने के लिए हम यहाँ पे इकट्ठे हुए हैं कि एनहांसिंग सप्लाई चेन एंड पार्टनरशिप, इस पे चर्चा करेंगे. तो सबसे पहले मैं चैलेंजेस के साथ ही शुरू करूँगा. क्या बॉटलनेक्स है इंडियन व्हीट सप्लाई चेन इंडस्ट्री में, पूरे ही वैल्यू चेन की अगर बात करें मनीष जी तो?
जी, तो मेरा सर जो डोमेन है इट्स रिलेटेड टू सस्टेनेबिलिटी सर्विसेज एंड कार्बन क्रेडिट्स, और जिसमें बहुत सारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस जो हैं कार्बन न्यूट्रलिटी, नेट जीरो एमिशन गोल्स, इन सब की बात करती है. और स्पेसिफिकली हम यदि डेवलपिंग नेशंस की बात करें, हमारे यहाँ पे बहुत अभी इसका इतना यस डेवलपिंग स्टेज में है. लेकिन डेवलप्ड इकोनॉमीज़ में देखें, आप यूरोप में देखें, आप US में देखें या नॉर्थ अमेरिका में देखें, तो वहाँ पे कार्बन न्यूट्रलिटी या नेट ज़ीरो प्रोडक्ट्स, कार्बन न्यूट्रल प्रोडक्ट्स या नेट ज़ीरो प्रोडक्ट्स की काफ़ी बातें होती हैं। तो पूरी सप्लाई चेन में स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम फार्म फील्ड से लगा के ट्रांसपोर्टेशन से लगा के मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड देन फर्दर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एंड कंजम्पशन में काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंस है कार्बन न्यूट्रलिटी एंड नेट ज़ीरो का। जैसे हमें सभी को पता है कि हमारी गवर्नमेंट ने पेरिस एग्रीमेंट साइन किया है एंड वी ऑल्सो विश टू बिकम अ नेट ज़ीरो नेशन बाय ईयर 2070। तो ये काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है कि अभी से ही हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस जो हैं फूड प्रोडक्ट से रिलेटेड या फूड इंडस्ट्री से रिलेटेड वो बड़ी कॉन्शियस रहे और कार्बन न्यूट्रलिटी, नेट जीरो एंड सस्टेनेबिलिटी की तरफ फोकस करते हुए अपने फर्दर बिजनेस गोल्स को प्लान करें।
जैसा आप कह रहे थे कि इस तरह के जो इनिशिएटिव्स है सस्टेनेबिलिटी की अगर बात होती है तो हम इंडिया में डेवलपिंग स्टेज में हैं, तो एसएमई को आप कैसे पिच करते हैं, उनको आरओआई रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट के बारे में कैसे बताते हैं, इसके जरिए कैसे वो हासिल कर सकते हैं?
हमारे डेवलपिंग नेशंस की बात करें, हम अराउंड 40 नेशंस में वर्क करते हैं इस डोमेन में। तो डेवलपिंग नेशंस में बात करें तो इंडिया जैसे आपने बताया, तो एसएमईज़ के लिए अभी ये कार्बन न्यूट्रलिटी और सस्टेनेबिलिटी थोड़ा सा सेकेंडरी टॉपिक है, उनके लिए फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी होती है प्रोडक्शन होना। लेकिन अब हमारे लिए वॉलेंट्री के अलावा कॉम्प्लाइंस मार्केट्स भी आना स्टार्ट हो गए हैं। कॉम्प्लाइंसेस जैसे कि इंडियन गवर्नमेंट ने रिसेंटली अभी लॉन्च किया है CCTS, कार्बन क्रेडिट ट्रेडिंग स्कीम, जो एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन एक्ट 22 में लॉन्च किया गया है, जिसमें बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्रियल सेक्टर हैं टू स्टार्ट विथ 9 सेक्टर, जिसमें 5 सेक्टर के लिए पिछले 5 दिनों में टारगेट्स डिसाइड कर दिए गए हैं कि आप 1 टन जो भी प्रोडक्ट प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, आप स्टील करते हैं या फर्टिलाइज़र में है, तो आपको 1 टन प्रोडक्ट को मैन्युफैक्चर करने में कितने टन CO2 आप एमिट कर सकते हैं, वो हमें टारगेट दे दिए गए हैं गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने।
डू यू हैव एनी सक्सेसफुल केस स्टडी?
तो सर ये रिसेंटली मैंने जैसे बताया कि 5 दिन पहले ही ये टारगेट्स डिसाइड हुए हैं और बाय द एंड ऑफ दिस ईयर द ट्रेडिंग ऑफ कार्बन क्रेडिट विल डू हैपन। उसी टाइप से वाइडनिंग ऑफ द सेक्टर, वाइडनिंग ऑफ मतलब ज़्यादा और सेक्टर्स ऐड किए जाएंगे, जैसे फूड इंडस्ट्री है, और SMEs तक भी वो टारगेट्स आएंगे, लेकिन प्रोबेबली नेक्स्ट 5 ईयर्स। तो SMEs के लिए जैसे मैं आपको बता रहा था कि वॉलेंट्री एक्शन जो कि यूरोप और US में काफ़ी देखा जाता है, लेकिन हमारे जैसे नेशन में बहुत कम है। कॉम्प्लायंस की बात करें तो 2 तरह के कॉम्प्लायंस हो सकते हैं, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया CCTS, और दूसरा कॉम्प्लायंस होता है जिसे आप प्रोडक्ट अपना बना के देते हैं। तो जैसे नाइकी है, प्यूमा है, वैसे ही फूड सेक्टर में भी इस टाइप के SMEs को टारगेट्स देना स्टार्ट कर रही है बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जिसे हम प्रोडक्ट सप्लाई करते हैं। उन्हें वो बोलते हैं कि आप जो भी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कर रहे हो वो सस्टेनेबल तरीके से होना चाहिए, प्रोक्यूरमेंट सस्टेनेबल होना चाहिए, देन आपके जो एमिशंस हैं वो काउंट किए करने चाहिए, और आपको कार्बन न्यूट्रल या रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी बैक प्रोडक्ट हमें सप्लाई करना है। तो ये बायर का जो या जिसे हम प्रोडक्ट सप्लाई कर रहे हैं उनका जो कॉम्प्लायंसेस हैं वो अब SME सेक्टर को इम्पैक्ट करना स्टार्ट कर दिया है इंडिया में।
सर आपके पास वापस आएंगे, निकी साहब आपके पास मैं आना चाह रहा हूँ।
जी सर।
What are the biggest challenges, bottlenecks you are seeing and affecting supply chain in India's food sector? Because you are representing here the leading company and the leading FMCG company, Nestle.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity, and thank you, WPPS, for bringing us all together under one roof to openly discuss our issues and comes up with a mutual solutions to the thing. In supply chain thing, on the level of optimization in terms of deliveries coming from bag to a bagless supply chain, we are able to solve this particular part and we are able to crack it. So we have done this, and we can now enhance and scale further. The second part where on optimization I would like to put some thought on is our processing capability and ability. इंडिया को आज मैं अपने नेस्ले के और कहीं भी मार्केट से कंपेयर कर लूँ, we have the cheapest milling charges that we pay. That's a fact right now. So a fair representation needs to be made that we start catering to the global markets rather than just Indian markets. And जो भी उसके लिए लगता है कि भाई टैरिफ्स थोड़े रिलैक्स्ड हो, मार्केट्स थोड़े बेटर रहें, इट वुड बी अ टफ वे, इट वोंट बी अ वेरी इजी वे, क्योंकि यहाँ पे जैसे आशीष भटनागर सर बता रहे थे कि वही 4-5 एक फ्लावर्स हैं जो हम लेते हैं बनाते हैं, बट व्हेन यू गो टू ग्लोबल मार्केट द फ्लावर रेंज इज़ वेरी हाई. It goes from as soft, which is used in a cake, to as hard bread, which can break your teeth. So that is the range, and we are not reaching that as of now. So जब हम global markets के लिए करेंगे, it will be very similar to what happened in the EV industry. पहले it was tie-ups of different companies, Indian companies and global companies. We learned the skill, and now you see Mahindra producing the best EV vehicles, which can put even BYD from China to shame, right? So these are the parts where I think focus can be done. Second is, I will take from sir the sustainability part. See, now supply chain has to come up to a point that it is being driven by customer. And customer is very demanding. It's not, we are not fulfilling consumer needs, we are fulfilling consumer demands now. एंड वी आर कैटरिंग, अभी हम डिस्कशन कर रहे थे कि नहीं जी हम तो रोटी सब्जी खाते हैं ज़्यादातर लोग, कुछ हम कह रहे थे कि भैया बड़े ग्लोबल प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, इनको कैसे मैनेज करेंगे. आपको समझना पड़ेगा कि आप 5 जनरेशन्स को एक रूफ के अंडर देख रहे हैं आज, फ्रॉम बेबी ब्लूमर्स टू जेन अल्फा, और इन सब की रिक्वायरमेंट बहुत अलग है. ये कोई एक रेडार में आप फिट कर लें, किसी के लिए वही प्रोडक्ट इंटेलिजेंस प्रोडक्ट है, किसी के लिए वही मेन मील है. So this thing has to be understood. Now people are not satisfied with good product. They want ये product कहाँ से आया है, how traceable it is, how transparent is the supply chain right now. They also want to understand कि इसका carbon footprint कितना है. So we have to provide this information. Sooner or later we are not 5 to 10 years behind the line कि हमें ये पूरा करके देना पड़ेगा. So that brings to the part. Second, sustainability. अब ये CSR एक चेकबॉक्स वाला पार्ट रह नहीं गया है. If I tell you, I was a trader before in Singapore, before joining Nestle few months back. हम बात करते थे तो मेरे को एक बात, पहली बार हम लोग 2% के मार्जिन में काम करते थे, तो एक बात बड़ी चुभी थी जब एक जेनेवा की कोई कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रही थी और किसी ने कहा कि इंडिया का चावल $550 भी आ जाए हमको अच्छा लगता है, क्योंकि हम चावल नहीं खरीद रहे हैं, हम 1 किलो के पीछे 2000 लीटर इंडिया का ग्राउंड वाटर खरीदते हैं. सो दैट इज द लेवल ऑफ सस्टेनेबिलिटी वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. सेकंड, अभी कोलंबिया यूनिवर्सिटी की एक रिपोर्ट आई थी जिसने बोला कि जो आर्सेनिक हम इंडिया के लेवल्स में, विच इज़ अ मेजर कॉज ऑफ सेवरल डिजीजेस, हम उसमें बात करते थे और हम कहते थे कि ये वाटर से आ जाता है. नाउ दे हैव सेड कि साउथ एशिया और साउथ ईस्ट एशिया, ये 2 मार्केट्स ऐसे, 2 जोग्राफीज ऐसी हैं जहाँ के कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड लेवल्स अब आपको हमेशा आर्सेनिक ही देंगे, चाहे आप वीट की बात करें चाहे राइस की बात करें. सो आई थिंक एक सप्लाई चेन को नॉट जस्ट वन कंपनी, वी एज कॉम्पिटिटर्स ऑल्सो, एंड वी ऑलवेज कॉल कि भाई हमारे वेंडर बायर रिलेशनशिप नहीं है, वी आर ऑल बिजनेस पार्टनर्स. सो ऑल टुगेदर हैज़ टू गो थ्रू दैट वेव और एक ट्रांजिशन लाना पड़ेगा. कंज्यूमर विल इवेंचुअली पे फॉर इट, स्पेशली फॉर द कैटेगरीज. हाँ, जो 80% 90% गेहूँ आपका रोटी में जा रहा है, दैट इज़ वन पार्ट, बट द अदर कैटेगरीज वही है, लोकल आइटम चाहिए, ग्लोबल एस्पिरेशंस चाहिए, तो वो मैच करने के लिए हम सबको साथ में एक बार काम करना ही पड़ेगा.
Okay. One more thing I would like to ask Mr. Negi. How can India balance cost efficiency with sustainability in modernizing food processing?
Sir, that's an interesting question that we are still cracking ourselves also. Yes, मैं आज किसी भी अपने सप्लायर से बोलूं कि आज आप अपने मिल के आसपास आप सस्टेनेबल करो, ऑर्गेनिक करो, ऑब्वियसली इट इंक्रीजेज द कॉस्ट. इट्स नॉट अ जीरो कॉस्ट सोल्यूशन. एंड माई एबिलिटी to sell a product at $5 in a global market versus 50 cents in India is also limiting. But there is a segment that is coming up, demand is coming up. पॉइंट ये है कि आप इस पर रिवर्स में काम नहीं कर पाओगे. जिस दिन ये डिमांड आपके सामने खड़ी हो जाएगी, आप उस दिन नहीं कर सकते कि चलो अब मैं इसको सस्टेनेबल बनाता हूँ, अब मैं इसे ऑर्गेनिक बनाना शुरू करता हूँ. सो दैट प्रिपरेशन हैज़ टू बी डन. एंड इंडिया के पास एक चीज़ बहुत पहले से है, इन चीज़ों से पहले, वो है जुगाड़ सिस्टम. सो वी हैव सेवरल जोग्राफीज जो कि डिफ़ॉल्ट हम बोलते हैं ऑर्गेनिक बाय डिफ़ॉल्ट हैं. हमने उन मार्केट्स में आज तक मंडियाँ ही नहीं बनाई हैं. लेट्स बी ओपन अबाउट इट. We have not created mandis for those geographies. So solutions are there, and the current demand which is for such kind of categories is not, it's not कि 106 million ton पे आपको कोई sustainable मांग रहा है. It will gradually slowly convert as the wallet share towards indulgence categories and towards basic food categories increases. We will slowly and gradually reach there. It's not a one nick off solution कि आज हमने ये किया और customer हमें देना शुरू करेगा. So that value has to be created.
One more thing, Mr. Negi, how do you see the role of technology in enhancing transparency and resilience in across food supply chains?
Sir, this is a thing which has been already cracked in global markets, and we and whole industry, I think not us, but multiple peoples and multiple of our competitors as well as all the partners are trying to do it at their own level. Problem comes on these small scale land holdings versus large scale holdings that we see in US and the markets who are able to crack it. But if you see now, if you go in Bangalore, sit at any bar or club and sit for a while, you will see hundreds of people and at least 20 representatives, young boys and girls discussing about कि ट्रक में चिप लगाते हैं, बैग्स में चिप लगाते हैं, लेट्स डू इट एट द ग्राउंड लेवल. सो हम लोग थोड़े से अभी मुझे जो हमारी इंटरनल स्टडी, दिस माय पर्सनल ओपिनियन दैट आई एम ट्राइंग टू पुट इज, हम टेक्नोलॉजी में क्या करते हैं, सोल्यूशन सामने से आता है, फिर हम अपनी प्रॉब्लम ढूंढना शुरू कर रहे हैं रादर देन कि जो हमारी एक्चुअल प्रॉब्लम्स हैं हम उनके लिए सोल्यूशन ढूंढें कि हमें ये ट्रेसेबल बनाना है. दैट इज़ द ऑब्जेक्टिव दैट वी हैव टू डू. दैट डजंट नीड टू बी अ सोल्यूशन कि मैं सबसे महंगी टेक्नोलॉजी दुनिया में खरीद के लाऊं और मैं उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना शुरू करूं. लाइक चाइना डिड इट ऑन द फेस ऑफ एवरीवन बाय डूइंग डीपसीक. वही एआई बनाने में जो 5 साल लग गए, एंड विथ ऑल Indian brains putting technology everywhere, in every company you go, it's an Indian face there. We are best capable to solve our problems, and once that farm to fork traceability is being created in the supply chain, it will solve eventually multiple problems that we are discussing here on the panel right now.
गौरांग जी, आपके पास आ रहा हूँ. क्या मेजर चैलेंजेस आप देख रहे हैं सप्लाई चेन को लेके, प्रोक्योरमेंट को लेके, लॉजिस्टिक और स्टोरेज, क्या बड़े चैलेंज है अपने देश में?
Sir, so my today's focus was mostly on technology. In terms of technology, what I believe is flour millers they lack in technology, having enough database to make cognizant decision making. So that lack of technology is still there in the market. They are working in a very traditional sort of way.
What are the bottlenecks to get those technology at?
So I have got my presentation ready, so I'll just give a small presentation on that.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, sir. First of all, very good afternoon to everyone, and sorry about that delay. So let me start off. Have you ever felt that the rate at which you are buying your raw materials today might be higher than your competitors? Or do you face challenges in running the mill all by yourself? Don't worry. Let me introduce you to NetEdge, a one-stop solution for all the millers. We offer a wide range of modules including purchase, inventory, sales, finance, marketing, legal and HR. While most of the mills today require 2 to 3 people from the managerial position to run the factory efficiently, my aim is to empower only one person to operate multiple mills single-handedly. Okay, so why NetEdge and why now? As we know that our industry is very unorganized and fragmented, with trade still being done on a phone call and in a very traditional manner. We highly rely on brokers and WhatsApp groups vis-a-vis the sales rate to derive what our purchase rate should be. Furthermore, there is no real-time data available to any of us, no charts, no fancy things to speculate for the further how the markets will go. Like any other commodities today. Lastly, we also know that a lot of new generations are coming into the business, and it is very difficult to sustain without having proper technology and by just working on the traditional working methods. Hence, in order to modernize the process flow, we propose NetEdge Business Intelligence, an ERP software solution that understands all the millers' problems. Okay. So let me quickly highlight the key points for you. The software is based on a cloud SaaS model, which means there will be no additional infrastructure requirement at your end. It will ensure that all your stakeholders, especially when we are talking about supply chain, the suppliers, the customers and the brokers, they'll be integrated very smoothly onto the system. I'm sure you must be going through the daily hassle of giving them their hisab, their details and all that. You can define access control to the users such that they will only be able to access the restrictive modules or the transactions that you require your employees to do. We have kept this interface very simple and easy to use with a self-training module on each page where you can navigate through the software with ease and comfort of your own language. Now just imagine what would happen if we combine two super apps like Zomato and Zerodha for our industry. It will be great, right? So yes, we aim to build an ecosystem, not just an ERP solution. पीछे वाला So the ERPs would be integrated at each miller end. So the deployed ERPs, they'll be connected to one single application. All the suppliers and buyers can see the live prices on and get a very good marketplace to buy and sell on. Of course, there will be some legal binding contracts mentioned in the terms and conditions of the application, which we do not have currently when we are doing just a trade on a phone call. Secondly, once multiple millers get onto this platform, there will be anonymous data sharing between the millers and the companies to help them make better decision making. This will not only help each and every miller, gain market insights, but it will also help in the further problems that I'll be discussing. So we'll be adopting a net edge score, which will be similar to CIBIL for banks. Now here, what will happen is that the customers and suppliers will be ranked on various parameters, contributing to their score, and this will help us filter out the troublesome parties in the market that we all have on both the side, supplier and the customer side. Our sales forecasting module would be functional after a good data of 3 years has been fed in, and it will analyze and give us good predictive indications of how the market would look for your own company or what would be the good geographies to sell in a particular season. The millers can also create their own individual auctions for procuring raw materials that we do not currently have or no one is using, which the corporates do, which the government is doing, that can help us gain raw material at a very decent pricing. The brokers, customers and suppliers can access the ledgers, profile details and raise any kind of tickets to the flour millers in case there is any discrepancy. There would be smart notifications that would give these parties subtle reminders regarding the due date of payments, any delivery deadlines, etc., helping the flour millers make their system more robust and SOP driven. Finally, the application would also be a marketplace for all your needs, including finding transporters, labor contractors, etc. You can keep that to the imagination. So in terms of what is coming next, the development for this whole ERP would take about 6 to 8 months, while we are taking early bookings with early bird offers. Once the ERP is deployed, it would take another 2 months for the suppliers and customers to get onboarded onto the application for a day-to-day operations. We are also planning to integrate logistics and payment gateway options, UPI and all that, so that it will give the ease of use for all the stakeholders. Lastly, we are looking to expand into other commodities as well. as we deal in major different commodities, not only wheat. And a major milestone would also be to have this application capture data right from the mandi point of view, so that the exact prices are displayed to the millers, the people who are trading on the software. So let's build a better tomorrow. And for any other further details, you can contact me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. On this note, we would like to request Mr. Pankaj Goyal also to please come and join us on stage. We are not inviting to felicitate this time. We are inviting you to contribute to the discussion. So, with due permission of the chair, I would like to invite Mr. Pankaj Goyal to join in the panel. Thank you.
पंकज जी, अब आपके साथ ही मैं शुरू करता हूं। क्या आपको लग रहा है, क्या हमारे पास पर्याप्त सप्लाई चेन की जो स्थिति है वो बेहतर है, बेहतर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, कोल्ड स्टोरेज की जहां तक बात हो, वेयर हाउसेस की बात हो, क्या देश में पर्याप्त है?
सो आई थिंक काफ़ी इम्प्रूवमेंट है सप्लाई चेन में, कोल्ड स्टोरेज में। और अगर फार्मर से लेके मिलर्स का व्यू देखता हूँ तो काफ़ी डिफरेंस आया है। जहाँ पर पहले साइलोज इंडिया में नहीं होते थे, आजकल डायरेक्ट डिलीवरी साइलोज में हो रही है। इवन FCI भी डायरेक्ट साइलोज के अंदर मटेरियल अनलोड कर रही है। जस्ट टू गिव यू एन एग्जांपल, हम लोगों ने भी साइलोज करीब 4 या 5 साल पहले लगाए थे। नाउ वी कुड सी द फार्मर्स आर डायरेक्टली कमिंग टू अस एंड अनलोडिंग द मटेरियल इन अवर साइलोज। सो अगर मैं पूरी सप्लाई चेन में देखता हूँ, जहाँ पर फार्मर्स वीट मंडी में लेकर जाते थे, वहाँ पर माल ज़मीन पे डालते थे या बोरियों में ढूलता था, फिर एक ट्रक में लोड होता था। सो देयर वाज द कॉस्ट एंड आल्सो लॉट ऑफ वेस्टेज व्हिच वाज हैपनिंग इन द वे। सो दैट हैज़ बीन रिड्यूस्ड एंड दैट हैज़ बीन अडॉप्टेड वेरी वेल इन द इंडस्ट्री नाउ। सो आई थिंक देयर इज़ अ लॉट ऑफ learning which is coming into the industry. Certainly there is always concern for the capital, but I think that is also comes with the mindset. So I think the mindset is set, and if the mindset is set, everything follows the rest. So the things are moving ahead. Also, I would like to add one more thing, since there was a discussion going on in terms of sustainability, and I could hear that the sustainability is not an easy thing, and it is not the cup of a tea of MSME, or you should only get scared with the sustainability in terms of first things come as the big jargons, and also comes as the challenge in terms of investments. So I would say I'm just trying to share my learning in terms of sustainability. So sustainability is not about just a carbon footprint, and so you can do a small measures in your mill. So I would say power conservation. So you drive a power conservation project in your mill, so you are becoming more sustainable. You start monitoring the waste reduction in your mill in terms of what is the plastic usage in the mill. So you give yourself a target that what kind of a plastic reduction I can do in my mill. So that's becoming sustainable. So I think those kind of a small things, if we keep on adding to our learning and to our practices in our current job roles or current businesses, I think we are moving towards sustainability.
क्योंकि इस सेक्टर में बहुत सारी छोटी कंपनियां भी है, लो हैंगिंग फ्रूट्स कंपनीज है, हाउ कैन दे अडॉप्ट दो सस्टेनेबिलिटी दैट मॉडल?
So that's what I would say कि हमें ये तो सोचना ही चाहिए कि if we talk about become sustainable, हमारा पैसा खर्च हो रहा है, हमारा पैसा नहीं खर्च हो रहा, हमारा पैसा सेव होता है. So that is what I have learned. I'm sharing from my experience. So let's say I just start giving small projects to my team कि यार आज फैक्ट्री के अंदर कितनी लाइट्स हैं, कितना एक्स्ट्रा इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बर्न हो रहा है. We just start monitoring it, and I could say we have reduced 200 units per day in terms of a lighting consumption. So this is sustainability. Maybe if you become आप आपके मिल के अंदर या your team, you just start talking about how much of plastic waste we are doing. So let's say we were having a plastic wastage of 3%. Just we started giving a target, a goal to our team members that no, we have to reduce the plastic waste. That's how you can contribute.
But convincing them, but teaching them to how to get a better ROI.
So first we have to accept ourselves कि हमें करना है ये task. We wanted to contribute to sustainability. हमें sustainability को ये नहीं सोचना है कि sustainability मतलब बड़ी कंपनियों का टारगेट है या sustainability मतलब यूरोपियन कंट्रीज का टारगेट है. Sustainability is everybody's jobs, and let's contribute to that. So I'm really happy that this event is also on sustainability, and there is no flex or nothing. So I think that's a small contribution we can start adding, and that can add to the sustainability.
गौरांग जी, वन मोर क्वेश्चन सर, आपका लेगेसी बिजनेस है तो कैसे आप ब्लेंड करते होंगे जो ट्रेडिशनल आपके प्रैक्टिसेस होंगे उसे मॉडर्न जो डिमांड है, जिस तरह से चीज़ें बदल रही हैं, ट्रांसफॉर्म हो रही है, तो उनका ब्लेंडिंग करना लेगेसी बिजनेस लेके और फिर आप इसे मॉडर्न बिजनेस में?
Sir, so I joined as a third generation into the business and MBA किया, तो I wanted to implement a lot of things right after I came. बट ये इंडस्ट्री ऐसी है सर कि पहले वी हैव टू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम द ग्राउंड वर्क. तो मैं सुबह आई स्टार्टेड विथ गोइंग टू द फैक्ट्री एट 6 AM, started unloading wheat, started understanding one process at a time, and then whatever changes I wanted to do, पहले मैंने समझा कि how my employees are operating, how the business practices are done, and then how to modernize it in terms of how do I automate it. We have got application जहाँ पे the suppliers are integrated. So we started getting into SOP driven organization जहाँ पे everything is planned and everything is done one after the another. So that is how maintaining the legacy but driving some new changes into the organization so the work becomes more faster, the scope of manual error decreases. And that is what I'm planning to do with NetEdge for all the millers. So I'm trying to make a solution so that you don't have to invest your time into this.
वन मोर थिंग, ये मैं आपसे पूछना चाह रहा हूँ मनीष जी कि कार्बन रिडक्शन जो स्ट्रैटेजी है, क्या लग रहा है आपको कि वो टेंजिबल बिजनेस इम्पैक्ट है या?
बिल्कुल सर. तो जैसे पंकज जी ने बताया कि सस्टेनेबिलिटी से सिर्फ कॉस्ट नहीं लगती है, लेकिन आपको पैसे भी काफ़ी बचते हैं, प्लस जो प्रोडक्ट की क्वालिटी वो भी काफ़ी इंप्रूव होती है. तो हमारी इंडस्ट्री में सिर्फ 2 टाइप के कार्बन क्रेडिट्स होते हैं, एक अवॉइडेंस बेस्ड कार्बन क्रेडिट्स जैसा आपने बताया, और मतलब जिसको रिडक्शन भी बोलते हैं, और एक रिमूवल बेस्ड कार्बन क्रेडिट्स. तो पूरी सप्लाई चेन में, जैसे आपका लास्ट क्वेश्चन बोला था आपने कि पूरी सप्लाई चेन में हम एमिशंस को रिड्यूस तो कर सकते हैं, प्लस वो जो भी एमिशंस को रिडक्शन हो रहा है या सस्टेनेबिलिटी प्रैक्टिसेस के चलते वो जो एमिशंस के रिडक्शन हो रहा है या रिमूवल हो रहा है एटमॉस्फेयर से, उसे हम कार्बन क्रेडिट के फॉर्म में सेल भी कर सकते हैं. तो ना कि सिर्फ सस्टेनेबिलिटी अडॉप्ट की हमने हमारे रुपए भी बचाए, लेकिन एक एडिशनल रेवेन्यू स्ट्रीम, क्योंकि कार्बन क्रेडिट एक एनवायरमेंटल कमोडिटी है जो नेशनल और इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे ट्रेड होती है, हम एक एडिशनल रेवेन्यू स्ट्रीम भी बना सकते हैं. जैसे मैं आपको एग्जांपल बताऊं जो आपने लास्ट टाइम भी पूछा था, तो फार्मर्स हैं जो मतलब सारे मिलर्स फॉर एग्जांपल हैं या जो भी वीट का प्रोक्यूरमेंट करते हैं, तो फार्मर्स को और ज़्यादा सस्टेनेबल बनाने के लिए उन्हें रीजनरेटिव एग्रीकल्चरल प्रैक्टिसेस के लिए प्रमोट कर सकते हैं. जितना एग्रीकल्चरल रेसिड्यू निकल रहा है उसको हम बायोचार में कन्वर्ट करके वापस से फार्म फील्ड में डिप्लॉय कर सकते हैं, जिससे फर्टिलाइज़र की रिक्वायरमेंट कम होगी, जो वीट है या जो भी फार्मर प्रोड्यूस है या एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोड्यूस है उसकी क्वालिटी भी इंप्रूव होगी, और हम कार्बन क्रेडिट भी क्लेम कर सकते हैं. प्लस हम एनहांस्ड रॉक वेदरिंग वाले प्रोजेक्ट कर सकते हैं, जिसमें जो बसाल्ट रॉक है उसे क्रश करके हम अपने फार्म फील्ड्स में डालें तो हमारी प्रोडक्टिविटी तो इंप्रूव होगी, साथ के साथ में हम कार्बन क्रेडिट्स भी क्लेम कर सकते हैं. और जो भी हमारे फार्मर्स हैं उनकी यदि हाउस होल्ड लाइफ की हम बात करें तो उन्हें हम एनर्जी एफिशिएंट कुक स्टोव्स दे सकते हैं, जिस पर कार्बन क्रेडिट क्लेम किया जा सकता है. अपना वाटर फिल्टर्स हैं, बायोगैस सिस्टम्स हैं, LED लाइट्स हैं, सोलर पैनल्स हैं, ये सारी चीज़ें एक्टिविटी करके हम यदि हम सिर्फ फार्मर लेवल की हम बात करें, ये सारी चीज़ कर सकते हैं. उनके पास में जो भी एडिशनल ज़मीन है उसके ऊपर में हम पेड़ लगाने के लिए उन्हें प्रमोट करें, उस पर भी हम कार्बन क्रेडिट क्लेम कर सकते हैं, जो रिमूवल बेस्ड कार्बन क्रेडिट होता है, जिसकी मार्केट वैल्यू अराउंड $20 to $30 होती है. और जो दूसरी टेक्नोलॉजीज़ हैं जैसे बायोचार या एनहांस्ड रॉक वेदरिंग, उसकी $150 से तो कार्बन क्रेडिट की सेलिंग रेट स्टार्ट होती है. फिर हम इलेक्ट्रिकल व्हीकल्स यूज़ करें जो फार्म फील्ड से मंडी या मंडी से हमारे मिलर्स तक जो वीट आता है उसके ऊपर हम कार्बन क्रेडिट क्लेम कर सकते हैं. जितनी भी एनर्जी एफिशिएंट टेक्नोलॉजीज़ हैं या सस्टेनेबल प्रैक्टिसेस हैं उसके ऊपर में भी कार्बन क्रेडिट क्लेम किया जा सकता है. तो सिर्फ सस्टेनेबिलिटी से हम क्वालिटी तो इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं, लेकिन एक एडिशनल रेवेन्यू स्ट्रीम भी बना सकते हैं, ना कि सिर्फ फार्मर्स के लिए जो आपकी अपस्ट्रीम सप्लाई चेन में आता है, लेकिन जो मिलर्स हैं या जिनका बिजनेस है वो भी इस एक्टिविटी में पार्टिसिपेट करके अपने लिए भी एक रेवेन्यू स्ट्रीम, एडिशनल रेवेन्यू स्ट्रीम बना सकते हैं.
ओके नेगी साहब, अब नेक्स्ट राउंड की तरफ चलते हैं। एक सवाल मेरा होगा, क्या पीपीपी मॉडल के जरिए, पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप के जरिए जो सप्लाई चेन की जो व्यवस्था है देश में, उसको इम्प्रूव किया जा सकता है, और सरकार की जो स्कीम्स है वो कितना सपोर्टिव है?
सी पीपीपी जैसे हम आज सस्टेनेबिलिटी और सीएसआर की बात कर रहे हैं, वैसे ही पीपीपी आई रिमेंबर जो हम कॉलेज में हुआ करते थे तो 10-12 साल पहले इट वाज अ वेरी हाई थिंग एंड काम हो रहे हैं। बट सी वी एक्सपेक्ट कि थोड़ा सा हमारे अंदर एक गॉड वाला चलता है कि वन पर्सन और वन पर्टिकुलर पर्सन विल सॉल्व इट आवर प्रॉब्लम्स, दैट्स हाउ वी लाइक मूवीज लाइक पुष्पा एंड ऑल, राइट, कि एक आदमी आया सब सॉल्व कर दिया। तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। गवर्नमेंट भी उतनी ही क्लूलेस है टू अंडरस्टैंड कि करना क्या है। इफ़ यू सी हाउ द गवर्नमेंट्स OMS's numbers have been fluctuating, if you see the export and import policy and tariffs across commodities, I'm not talking of wheat, they are also not able to cope up कि भाई हम इस population level पे थे, short up we are at 1.4, next we are targeting 1.7, 2030-35 में हम बोल रहे we will be the will cross almost by further 10-20% से हम increase हो जाएंगे. So these are not easy for government also, and we expecting that government will come and solve this. Similarly for private players also, ठीक है, then they private में there are two categories. We are having the MNCs and then we having our MSMEs and the other organizations. सब level पे उनके अपने अपने इंसेंटिव्स हैं कि वी हैव टू सेव प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी क्वार्टर टू क्वार्टर। जब हम कल बात कर रहे थे, सारे कॉर्पोरेट्स बैठे थे कि हमारा गेम तो क्वार्टर टू क्वार्टर चलता है तो दैट इज ऑल्सो प्रैक्टिकली ट्रू। एंड देन MSMEs आर ऑपरेटिंग एट अ थिन मार्जिन्स, बट हमारे पास सॉल्यूशंस ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल आप MSP गेहूं में देख लीजिए, एक सिंगल पॉइंट MSP हमारे पास रखी है। आप चावल में चले जाइए, देयर इज अ MSP ग्रेड A, देयर इज अ MSP ग्रेड B। सो जो सर ने बताया कि आप अपने आसपास में ही अगर सस्टेनेबल काम कर रहे हैं, हमारी खुद की वी डू सस्टेनेबल सोर्सिंग, जहाँ पे हमारे सप्लायर्स हैं, हमने उनके साथ पिछले 4-5 साल काम किया, उनके मिल के आसपास के कैचमेंट एरियाज पकड़े, बिकॉज फार्मर्स में एक ओपिनियन लीडर का कॉन्सेप्ट चलता है, जिसको ITC में जब हम हुआ करते थे मुझे संचालक बोला करते थे, जिनकी बात हर कोई सुनते हैं कि इस बार मक्का लगा दो, हम कह रहे हैं, है ना। तो जब आप उनसे बात करो, वो आपकी विसिनिटी में हो सकता है। हमने करते करते हमारे कई, हम पंजाब में कर रहे हैं, ईटा में कर रहे हैं, यूपी में, इन बेल्ट्स में दे स्टार्टेड विथ स्मॉल एकरेजेस कि यहाँ पे इतने में सस्टेनेबल ट्राई करते हैं, एंड दे डिड इट एक्सपेंडेड, एंड नाउ वी आर एबल टू टच अराउंड 1 lakh to 1.5 lakh tons of sustainably sourced wheat for specialized categories. So ये एक joint इवेंट ही है। सिमिलरली वी रन नॉट अ प्रोजेक्ट बट अ प्रोग्राम फॉर आवरसेल्व्स, जहाँ पे हमारे पास 50 to 55 बिजनेस पार्टनर्स हमारे फ्लावर सप्लायर्स हैं। वी गो टू वन मिल, वी सी व्हाट बेटर दे हैव डन, चाहे वो जुगाड़ लेवल पे है, टेक्नोलॉजिकल इम्पोर्टिंग लेवल पे है कि टेक्नोलॉजी इम्पोर्ट कर ली, या कुछ in their local customized way they are able to do something better. So हम वो चीज़ की लर्निंग को फिर दूसरी मिल पे लेके जाते हैं कि भाई इससे हमारा भी फ़ायदा है, आपका भी फ़ायदा है। सो इट्स अ क्रॉस लर्निंग रादर देन अपनी अपनी किताबों को, लाल किताब जो होती थी पुरानी, उसको पकड़ के हम बैठ गए कि नहीं मैं नहीं दिखाऊंगा मैंने क्या खरीदा, मैं नहीं बताऊंगा मैंने क्या बेचा, मैं नहीं बताऊंगा मैंने क्या किया। इसमें अब एक कोलैबोरेटिव एफर्ट ही लगना है।
ओके, टेक्नोलॉजी, जो नई टेक्नोलॉजी है, खास करके ब्लॉकचेन हो या ट्रेसेबिलिटी सिस्टम है, उसको सप्लाई चेन में अपनाया जा रहा है क्या, अडॉप्ट किया जा रहा है क्या आप?
Sir, I am not a technological expert. I represent procurement first of all, and Nestle is doing multiple things in this regards. However, blockchain 4 years back was a very big buzz that क्या सबसे पहले सौदे से लेके मतलब मंडी की 6 आर कटने से लेके फाइनल तक आपको पूरी ट्रेसेबिलिटी मिल जाएगी। यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड इंडिया एज अ मार्केट ऑफ ट्रांसल्यूसेंसी एंड नॉट ट्रांसपेरेंसी इन टर्म्स ऑफ प्राइसेस। Let's accept that nobody is telling one level ahead कि ये काम पे हमने बेचा, ये काम पे हमने किया। So there are few technologies that are needed. मैंने इसलिए बोला कि हम solution ला के प्रॉब्लम ढूंढने ना बैठें, जो प्रॉब्लम्स पड़ी हैं उन्हें सॉल्व करें। आप शुगर के अंदर अभी हुआ है महाराष्ट्र में, and it was such a good case to read. There was a local NGO with a very minimal investment. They did it. They used remote sensing which was there for last 20 years. एक शुगर केन फील्ड लिया, एंड दे वर एबल टू एनालाइज कि यार मुझे पूरे खेत में यूरिया नहीं डालना है, इस खेत की ये छोटी छोटी एरियाज़ हैं और बेस्ड ऑन कलर सेंसिंग मुझे यहाँ यूरिया डालना है, मुझे यहीं पानी डालना है, मुझे यहाँ पे ये करना है। दे कट देयर कॉस्ट and the yield and the sweetness of the sugar that you derive out of it was much higher than the general other fields. So this is the kind of solution that we need, which are needed, rather than कि हम एक रात में क्रांति कर देंगे, वो तो पॉसिबल भी नहीं है, ऐसी एक्सपेक्टेशन भी क्यों रखनी है.
ओके गोयल साहब, आपके पास आऊँगा. पिछले 5 साल में किस तरह से इवॉल्व हुई है पूरा सप्लाई चेन का जो सिस्टम है देश में, पूरे एग्री फूड चेन में, मैं सिर्फ व्हीट की ही बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, और कौन सी स्टोरी है जिसको अंडर रिपोर्टिंग अब तक की गई है? क्योंकि आमतौर पे कहा जाता है कि नंबर से ज़्यादा स्टोरीज मायने करती है. आप किस तरह से कहानी कहते हैं, आप अगर बेहतर कहानी कहेंगे तो लोगों तक पहुंचेगी, जन जन तक पहुंचेगी, किसानों तक पहुंचेगी, जो एंड यूज़र है उन तक पहुंचेगी. तो चीज़ें पिछले 5 साल में कैसे इवॉल्व हुई है और कौन सी चीज़ें जो अंडर रिपोर्टेड रह गई?
So, मुझे लगता है कई कंपनीज हैं इंडिया में जो FPOs के थ्रू एक ITC बहुत अच्छा काम कर रही हैं, जो मुझे देखने को मिलता है. पर्टिकुलरली अपने आटे के लिए they have now collaborated with lot of FPOs in Madhya Pradesh, especially for breeding a special varieties of wheat, जहाँ पर शरबती की कुछ स्पेशल वैरायटीज़ करी जा रही है, जहाँ पर किसानों का हाथ पकड़ा जा रहा है, जहाँ पर डायरेक्ट FPOs के थ्रू सोर्सिंग करी जा रही है. और ये बहुत अच्छा कनेक्ट है, जहाँ पर एक डायरेक्ट इंडस्ट्री जो कंज्यूमर को सर्व करती है वो फार्मर्स तक पहुँच रही है. तो एक ये सप्लाई चेन अगर मैं बोलता हूँ, जो कि एक ट्रेडिशनल सप्लाई चेन थी, जहाँ पर मंडी में किसान आ रहा है, आड़तिये को माल बेच रहा है और फिर वो आड़तिया खरीद के दूसरी जगह जा रहा है. तो इसमें बुरा मानने वाली या कोई किसी का बिज़नेस ख़राब करने वाली बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं कि यार आड़तियों को हम एलिमिनेट करना चाह रहे हैं. वरना यूजुअली बात यही आती है कि हम लोग आपस में इतना कंपटीशन रहते हैं, यार ये सप्लाई चेन हुआ तो आपने व्यापारियों को मार दिया, इसको मार दिया. तो दैट इज़ नॉट एन इशू, बट द थिंग इज़ हाउ वी आर कनेक्टिंग वेल एंड हाउ वी आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम द फार्म टू द फोक स्टोरी विद अ कंप्लीट अंडरस्टैंडिंग. सो एक वो जो गैप रहता है बीच का, वो गैप ख़त्म हो रहा है और गैप ख़त्म होना ज़रूरी है. मैंने भी कुछ इसी साइड में हम लोगों की कंपनी ने भी कहीं पर काम करने की कोशिश करी. तो ड्यूरम के अंदर वी ट्राई टू कनेक्ट डायरेक्टली विद द फार्मर्स, जहाँ पर इवन फार्मिंग की गुड प्रैक्टिसेस वी ट्राई टू हेल्प देम कि कैसे अच्छी फार्म प्रैक्टिसेस होती हैं वीट पैदा करने से लेके, हाउ द इरिगेशन हैज़ टू बी डन. ऑल्सो वी ट्राइड द चौपाल मॉडल. सो हम लोग की फैक्ट्री पे भी फार्मर्स डायरेक्ट लेकर आता है. तो वो पूरे मॉडल के अंदर हमने देखा फार्मर से कनेक्ट भी हुआ. एक्चुअली कंज्यूमर को क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है, वी आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट. जो पूरा कॉस्ट सिस्टम है और जो वेस्टेजेस हैं, जो दूसरी एनर्जीज और एफर्ट्स भी लग रहे हैं, सो वो रिड्यूस हो रहे हैं.
ओके जो बड़े चैलेंजेस सर है इंडस्ट्री की, वो वेयर हाउसेस की कमी जो लीकेज होती है हार्वेस्टिंग के बाद, और दूसरा लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट को कैसे कम किया जा सकता है. इस पर ये आखिरी जवाब आपका क्या होगा?
सो मुझे लगता है मैं काफ़ी दिनों से इस बारे में सोचता हूँ कि क्यों ना वेयर हाउसेस तो हुए हैं, वेयर हाउसेस में एग्रीगेटर ट्रेडर्स के थ्रू या मिलर्स के थ्रू या MNCs के थ्रू वेयर हाउसेस में मटेरियल चला जाता है. बट अगर फॉरेन कंट्रीज़ में कई जगह मॉडल देखते हैं तो कुछ जगह ऐसे मॉडल्स हैं जब फार्मर्स को अभी माल नहीं बेचना है, सो यू कैन कम एंड डायरेक्टली अनलोड द मटेरियल इन देयर साइलोस. इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ अ पूल सिस्टम विच ऑपरेट्स इन लॉट ऑफ कंट्रीज. सो आई थिंक वो काइंड ऑफ मॉडल्स डेवलप करने चाहिए. बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली फार्म बिल्स जो आए थे वो उस दिशा में ही थे. But
logistic cost is also major issue.
So that what it will help us to reduce the logistic cost also. हम जितनी बार मटेरियल हैंडलिंग करेंगे उतनी बार कॉस्ट और वेस्टेजेस बढ़ेगा. So मटेरियल हैंडलिंग को जितना शॉर्ट कर पाएंगे it will help us to reduce the overall the logistic.
गौरंग जी आपसे आखिरी सवाल यही होगा कि इनोवेशन और पार्टनरशिप कैसे बेहतर किया जा सकता है यहाँ पर?
सर सो अभी जैसे मैंने बताया, ट्रांसपेरेंसी इज़ अ की फैक्टर. हम वी शुड नॉट लुक एट other millers as competitors. We should look at them in a strategic way. Synergies meet होनी चाहिए हमारी. जब हम शेयर करेंगे चीज़ें तो हमें उसका बेनिफिट वापस मिल सकता है. So that in terms of partnerships with competitors is the way ahead, I feel. बाकी on the supplier and customer end sir, जो हम supply chain बनाएंगे, that has to be very robust. That has to be today Blinkit आ गया है, Swiggy, Instamart आ गया है. These people their focus is on giving the customer their satisfaction. So they have, actually they are the real ones who have established the right type of supply chain, and they are delivering what they are committing.
ओके, थैंक यू। मनीष जी, आखिरी सवाल आपसे, कैसे छोटी कंपनियां जो ये फूड प्रोसेसिंग में सस्टेनेबिलिटी की आप बात कर रहे हैं उसे कैसे वो अडॉप्ट कर सकती है? छोटा जवाब।
सर काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें हैं। टू स्टार्ट विथ सस्टेनेबिलिटी में सबसे पहले इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंजम्पशन है, दूसरा मतलब एनर्जी एफिशिएंट लाइटिंग है, एनर्जी एफिशिएंट इक्विपमेंट्स हैं, यूज़ ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिकल व्हीकल्स है, फिर एनर्जी ऑप्टिमाइजेशन है, मतलब एनर्जी जहाँ जहाँ पे भी यूटिलाइज हो रही है आइदर थर्मल फॉर्म में या इलेक्ट्रिकल फॉर्म में, उसको हम कैसे बेस्ट तरीके से यूज़ कर सकते हैं, कैसे उसको ऑप्टिमाइज कर सकते हैं, ये एक मेजर सस्टेनेबिलिटी से रिलेटेड ले सकते हैं। और कंटिन्यूसली उन्हें एक टारगेट बनाना चाहिए, जैसे कि 5 साल का टारगेट बनाना चाहिए कि आज उनका जितना भी एमिशन वो कर रहे हैं, जो भी पर केजी या पर टन प्रोडक्शन है, उसे वो स्पेसिफिकली अगले 5 साल में, अगले 10 साल में कहाँ तक लेके जाने वाले हैं, और उसको हर साल कितना कितना रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं, ये टारगेट लेके चलेंगे। और जितने भी बहुत सारे सस्टेनेबिलिटी मेजर्स और भी लिए जा सकते हैं, जैसे मैंने बताया था इलेक्ट्रिकल व्हीकल्स है, तो स्कोप 1 स्कोप 2 एमिशंस का रिडक्शन करना है, स्कोप 3 मतलब अपस्ट्रीम और डाउनस्ट्रीम का एमिशन रिडक्शन करना, ये बहुत सारी एक्टिविटीज़ प्लान आउट की जा सकती है डिपेंडिंग कि वो कितना फोकस तरीके से काम करना चाहते हैं।
नेकी साहब, लास्ट वर्ड आपसे इस पैनल के लिए।
सॉरी सर,
लास्ट वर्ड क्या है इस पैनल के लिए? इस कंक्लूडिंग रिमार्क आपकी तरफ से क्या है?
अच्छा, आपने अपना काम मुझे दे दिया। Okay. See, I think we are all aligned in a way. There are small discrepancies in understanding कि is it a micro level solution, it is a macro level solution. इसमें जब भी हम self life improvement भी करते हैं, वो होता है small nudgeable changes that you do on daily basis, and ideation कि यार इस तरफ को बढ़ते रहेंगे, we are good enough to solve any problem that we have, and we will be able to do it.
थैंक यू आप सभी का, आप लोगों ने वक्त दिया। थैंक यू।
Thank you so very much, Mr. Vishwas Mohan, for keeping this conversation absolutely to the point and respecting the time. On this note, we would like to invite Mr. Dinesh Sanghvi from the Sanghvi Foods to please come and join us on stage, and I humbly request Mr. Sunil Agarwal also to please join in Mr. Sanghvi and help us to felicitate this amazing panel which we have just experienced on this floor. We would like to start felicitating Mr. Vishwas Mohan, the editor, ET Now. I request Mr. Sanghvi and Mr. Agarwal to please come in the center and help us to felicitate the chair for this session, Mr. Vishwas Mohan. Can I request a big round of applause for this complete panel and the moderator of this particular panel. Mr. Sanghvi, please do the honor and help us to felicitate Mr. Vishwas Mohan. Thank you so much. Next, we would like to request Mr. Manish Dabkara to please come forward and receive a token of appreciation from WPPS, the Wheat Product Promotion Society. We are all celebrating the CEOs and their wisdom here. Next in the line, we would like to request Mr. Gaurang Kalanturi, the director of Kalanturi Brothers Private Limited, to please come forward and receive the honor. Once again, I request Mr. Sanghvi and Mr. Agarwal to please come forward and do the honor. I request Mr. Bhupendra Negi to please come forward and receive the honor. And I extend a great thanks to Mr. Pankaj Goyal for joining the panel and add on the valuable insights which he has from the experience. I invite the complete panel to please come forward and join in for a group picture. I invite Mr. Vishwas also to please come forward. Mr. Vishwa, Mr. Manish, Mr. Gaurang, Mr. Bhupendra. Thank you so much.